Hello and welcome to the Learning Explorer podcast. In this episode, I talked to Francisco Mello about his experiences that he made with training employees on Microsoft Teams, how he helped them to change their way of working, and how he created a Microsoft Teams self-help community. Together, we shed some light on success factors and good practices and hope that this can help others to support their own Microsoft Teams implementations. Finally, we take a look at Francisco's current project, the Microsoft Teams Club. So, let's start. Welcome, Francisco. Thank you very much for joining the Learning Explorer podcast. Maybe for our listeners, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, Matthias. Thank you for having me. Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So I'm Francisco Mello, and I come originally from Brazil, half Italian, and I left Brazil now 15 years ago, and I have been working in the automotive industry, telecommunications, and in the pharma industry for the last 10 years. Let's start like that, and then we can develop further.
And what was your last job, and what are you doing now?
Well, I have been working for Bayer for the last 3 years, and my last assignment was the role of the IT business partner responsible for the IT projects in MEA region for the consumer health division. Now I am moving forward with my personal projects, and that means Microsoft Teams Club and some other things related to the digital influencer role I had in this last position, which we also will going to explore here.
Okay, very good. And before we dig down more deeply into what this means, maybe so that our listeners can get to know you a little bit better, I'd like to ask you for a favorite quote and why it's favorite for you.
Yeah, actually, I love quotes, and if you go to my website, you'll find many of them there. But my favorite one, when this kind of questions come, is a quote that my former manager at Alcatel Mobile Phone in Italy, Flavio Ferrari, used to mention very often in the office. And he used to say that problems exist to be solved. And I really love this quote because it's a mindset. It's not only a quote. And if you do your working on a daily basis, also for personal purpose, thinking that the problems that come to you, you are able to solve that, and this is your task. This changes everything. It's very nice to follow.
Wow. Yeah, I really like this because also problem solving is related to learning, because if you already find a solution, you don't learn that much. But
that's right.
If you have to spend more time to really solve a problem, then really learning takes place, I would say.
That's correct.
You mentioned about your digital influencer role. What does this mean?
Well, always related to the digital tools I have been using to perform different jobs. Specifically, when I was working for Bayer, and I was helping people inside of the company with Microsoft Teams, I use it, and so far yet doing the same, using LinkedIn to promote some features of Microsoft Teams and to reach more people in the company, because as you know, is limited the range of people you can reach internally because of different divisions, different interests of the company. Even if you're using Yammer or Teams, I found that LinkedIn could be a better platform to reach out people, and I started to do so. In the beginning of this journey, supporting people with Microsoft Teams. And I found out that the feedback of people from LinkedIn was higher in the beginning than from Microsoft Teams. And then basically, both platforms help each other for this task I give to myself now to help people with Teams. And therefore, of course, my job as IT business partner related to also bring new innovations to the company and help decide, for instance, with let's say smart glasses implementation, which is totally related to digital and innovation or digital transformation, we call like that as well. So changing the way we are working, bring the automatically and natural, let's say, profile where some colleagues in here in Basel, they give me also like a nickname, Mr. Teams or LinkedIn guy, stuff like that. I used to listen in the office, and I start to push on that. And the results were very clear. For instance, when I joined Bayer, I had like 4,000 followers on LinkedIn. When I left, I had 17 to 18,000 in about 2 years. So I started to influence people to use digital tools, but not only. I started to also promote the digital mindset, how we should approach to the change, especially during the first lockdown, where I started to receive invitation to train teams and teams in terms of team members, non-groups, and also help people, some of them that left the company or because of reorganization or any other reason, to also build up their profile on LinkedIn. And that was very nice because, when you help people, it's a grateful thing to do. So that was, let's say, the big trigger on my case to become a digital influencer, to help people with the way of new ways of working.
Well, impressive. Thank you very much. And and in your previous job, you mentioned this to a certain degree already. You set up a Teams community basically internally, right? And also executed lots of training sessions. And I'm quite interested to learn how companies can best approach this or learn from your experiences, basically. So maybe we start with the community.
Yeah.
So how did you start to build a community for Teams?
That also was something very interesting and natural from the environment I was working. I have to tell you that I have always been the IT point of contact in the companies I have been working for, like doing trainings since ever. Since my first job in Brazil at Renault and Nissan, I was training people on web applications or different kind of softwares. So for me, it was something natural when I see something new and training people on the software, basically. And then when Windows 10 came to the laptops and Bayer, Microsoft Teams, it was there. It was not, let's say, planned from my point of view, a big adoption planning from Bayer regards to Teams in the beginning. And then I took that as advantage first to perform my daily job. So I was combining all the tools and different meetings and notes and everything inside of Teams. But I saw that my sites here in Europe, they didn't know anything about Teams. So first, I started to perform my meetings and meeting minutes and meeting agenda in Teams. And then I started to include people on these initiatives. At some point, we get stuck, and then people stopped to answer or stopped to use Teams because of, I don't know, time to learn or different reasons. And then some of them asked, could you please, some of these guys, could you please tell us how to do this and that? And then I started to have calls to explain how to use the tool. And then at some point, the voice is going around and people here in Basel listen to that as well. And then I started to do in-classes training at that time. And I will not say 100%, but most like our assistants in here in Basel, I did a personal training with them. And then the assistants, they spread voice. And then I started like in 19, I did 100, 200 people, and then 20 come to 1,000, and then in the pandemic is just exploded and went to 1,500, like one-to-one training. And to reach more people and to help, let's say, also even other divisions, I did create this group, which is also the foundation of my idea that will come later, the Teams Club, to help everybody. So I built up a Teams where you can learn about Teams. And in there, we exchange knowledge, not only me, but then I discover also many other colleagues, very knowledge on the topic that they come over and they start to help. And that was really, really great to see.
So I understand that this role came naturally to you because you were using the tool, you were learning it by doing and sharing best practices, and then you naturally became Mr. Teams, and you also got the name, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
Yeah, that's right.
It sounds a little bit like a grassroots initiative to start this up. Really cool. And when I first saw this community, I thought like, but it's a community. It should be open to everyone. Why is it in Teams and not in Jammer? What was your idea to create such kind of a community in Teams?
Yeah, many people ask me that as well. Well, the first thing is the simplicity. If I want to help people in Teams, why should I go to another platform? If I am Teams and I can work on different examples of how to use different parts of Teams, just doing print screen or even executing tasks. So, for instance, somebody asked me how to start task management in Planner. Just go there, I open Planner, and I create a task and assign to this person which make the question. And say, look, that's the way. This is the assignment, this is the due date, and so on. So we go to the deep after if needed. So if I would do that in Yammer, I would need it to make maybe a PowerPoint or a lot of print screen, and that would took a lot of time. On top of that, Microsoft is doing a great job in terms of releasing new features. So they change very often, as you know, the Teams itself. And if you made a print screen of how to, let's say, start a live event, for instance, in 2 months or 3 months, this screenshot will be not updated anymore. And then you need to update the print screen or update the presentation. That's a lot of work. And by the way, that's I think was the success of the group as well, because people were very active to see what's coming next and not just open PowerPoint and stay on their own. You know what I mean? So instead of just download a lot of learning material, they were actively looking and sharing things. And that's the reason we had I have some numbers here, like 220 posts, more than 590 replies, and almost 600 reactions, like likes and comments. And that group in the end when I left, had 3,500 people from all buyer divisions and all regions. I mean, geographical regions, right? Like EMEA, Latin.
Yeah.
So that I think was the biggest differentiation from the way we did this group.
I also learned that it's a good idea to have a Teams community in Teams because of you also included their playground and you were able to structure it quite well. And then I liked it because then everyone can quickly see how it really works, how it can be set up, and quickly click something together. This was a good idea. Yeah.
That's right. In fact, we had also a specific channel. We call it test channel. Yeah. So if you are not pro on Teams, you can go there, play around and say, hey guys, I'm trying to do something here. Somebody can help me. So it's very, very hands-on. No?
Was it successful from the start? So at least I understood that you already had a community around you that let's say followed you or were influenced by you, but was it still successful at start, or were there any later success factors?
Well, I would say the numbers, of course, in the beginning was small because that's natural, is harmonic growing. So as I said before, that started with my mainly stakeholders, with my partners in the IT group and also in the EMEA sites. So we had about 200 300 people for about 6 months. And then when I start to training people, after the training finish, instead of send the survey, these kind of things, I include them and say, now, if you have questions, please make your questions here in this group, and I will try to answer you. And then, as soon the people share the voice, like there is this guy here training, that the group start to grow together. And I think that is a natural growth. Yeah.
Okay. So you basically directed then people who had questions over there, and then also over time, maybe some others could then answer. So it was not a complete, let's say, burden on your shoulders anymore.
Yeah, also because when you start to include people from different time zones, for instance, I was sleeping and people from, I don't know, India, Brazil, Australia, they're making questions, and people from US, they answer. And you have the other colleagues that also join very, very actively, helping and create also very good content.
When did you have the idea, or what or who inspired you to create this community?
The community was basically after the training, as I said. No, so instead of I was not in favor to create PowerPoint slides for this reason I explained before, and then I said to the initial let's say trainees, so let's start like that. I create this group, and if you have questions, place here. And then of course in the beginning was like 1-2 channels, like a general channel where everybody was typing everything. And then with the time, I started to organize it better, like place your question here in this channel, here tips about how to use mobile phone, the application, here live events and meetings, here test your channel, and so on. So as soon the group was growing, we start also to make more structured Teams channels and also tabs inside with training material, with articles from LinkedIn, from Microsoft itself, or for other guys outside of Bayer and other companies as well. That was very, very good, because as you know, in Teams you can have like a tab where you connect a web page, so people can go there without leave Teams and check what's coming from next, for instance. And I would say that was one of the key points as well, to motivate people to continue. Because as I said, if you go to a PowerPoint and then people forget and they maybe don't open, the teams have notifications, and every time something comes new, there is a new release from Microsoft, they could see, because I placed that and I tag everyone, for instance, say, hey guys, look, now we can have, instead of 300 people, we can have 10,000 people in live events, for instance. I'll just put some numbers here to give people the idea how it worked. And then on top of that, as soon I had, let's say, useful cases or a business challenge that was placed on my table, I also, once, of course, the question was answered and the people was in agreement, I started to share that in Teams in this group. And that was, I think, the top time in this group, like a newsletter communication via Sway. You can see how many people read your newsletter. For instance, multiple restricted data in one single file automatically. We can go, if you think we have time for that, the business challenge and solve it, and also the useful cases and the outcomes are really great. And that, I think, was the best of this group.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, makes sense. And I also liked lots of structure that there was an area for raising questions. And if I have a question, I go there. Or if I just want to get inspired, I go to the content side or have a look at the use cases. So the structure also helped a lot. Or if I don't want to use it on my mobile phone, I don't have to check out this channel, for example. So
yeah, that's right.
Was even easier than to find relevant information.
Yeah, that's right. And because I did, let's say, this training, let's say, job in an informal way since my first job ever, I have some experience on that as well. So in terms of change management, resistant for change, all these kind of things. I had, for instance, experience at Novartis, helping the clinical trial team to implement SAP models, and it was great in the end. But as normal implementation, normal change, I had some difficulties, like people saying, not particular to Novartis, but in general, saying, I don't want to change, I don't like this, I don't like that, which is normal. No? Maybe people are working with a specific system for years, and then for a specific reason, they need to change and they feel uncomfortable to do that. And here was the same. Many people ask me, why should I stop to use Skype? I love Skype this, Skype that. And I say, well, sorry, but this was a decision from Microsoft, even not from Bayer. And therefore, that's the way we needed to force a little bit in terms of there's no other choice. For our communication platform, but this is much better. And then come with examples with the cases. And on top of that, what I realized that people is changing the learning style. Me, for instance, I'm learning by doing, and I prefer to spend maybe 1 hour trying until I get that, then read 10 minutes of manual, for instance. It's the same when I buy some stuff, some electronic stuff, I always try to do by myself, and then I go, if it doesn't work, I go to manuals to read. And I saw on this group a great number of users doing the same. They come to try, and then they start to apply. And that's great, because I think people go out of the comfort zone. Today we have many e-learn platforms on the internet, on the web, and there's people, they feel comfortable to go there. I did myself a Microsoft Teams certification from Microsoft, and for me it was boring, but I did just to have, just to say, you have? Yes, I have. Because there's some people, they feel comfortable to listen that when you go to train them. So just to place it here on the table in our conversation, that people can change also that, and this is a great thing to share.
Yeah, definitely, and especially with a tool that is constantly changing. I think learning by doing needs to happen, because else you go every week to a new training because there's a new feature available, right?
Yeah.
And some features you only understand by testing them, like the breakout rooms. I had to play around with, and I cannot learn the details I need by reading a manual, maybe. But maybe with exchange of colleagues, but also with testing and experimenting, I would say.
That's right.
So, especially as the system is regularly changing, and on the other hand side, you also in the community need to regularly post something or provide something. Where did you get good ideas from to, have always something to share in the teams?
Well, that was actually very easy, because Microsoft was doing that on different platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, in their own website. So in the beginning, when I start also to use more often LinkedIn, I follow Microsoft in there, but also on Twitter, where they place it, the fresh change, I would call it like that, and following also many other companies, small companies now, they call it MVP, from Microsoft, where they place many news on Twitter and LinkedIn. And in Twitter, in Teams, there is connection app, where you can connect Teams to many other applications. In that case, now they changed, is not available anymore, but in that case, I had Twitter connected to my MS Teams. So basically, every time Microsoft Teams account on Twitter posts something, that I would call, that was automation app. They placed the post on my Teams, on this group. So I even was doing nothing for this specific account. It was automatically posting there. But the useful cases where I was working with my stakeholders, like a team agenda, project management, live events in many languages, breakout rooms, these kind of things, I was doing. And then when I saw, okay, this is something new, or this is something that people in Bayer is not aware yet, so I would do a post for that. So then I took some time. In that case, of course, no hiding the sensitive information and place there just to not expose people in data. And then people start to replace, for instance, and the way they're doing this team agenda and embedded meeting agenda reduce a lot the number of emails in small teams. For instance, every team lead, they have regular meetings, right? Maybe bi-weekly or maybe once a month, whatever. They create an agenda to discuss the topics, and then they share an email with maybe in the bottom of a mail or maybe with Excel, whatever, PowerPoint. Say, guys, that will be the topic for next meeting. And then people, let's say 10 members in this team, they reply, I like this, I want to propose that, and so on. So maybe in a day you have 5 to 10 additional emails in your inbox just to comment a meeting that even did not start. If you place that in a Teams and place in a post in a specific tab, the Excel, for instance, as I used to do, you can just send a post to everyone, say, guys, this is the meeting agenda, comment there if you want. Go to the tab, go to the Excel itself and change there if you need and make comments. So here you go to 0 emails. Instead of 15 or maybe 20 in a time week. In a year time, maybe 100 emails less. So that was, I think, the great advantage when you use the system, and then you start to, to verify what's useful, what's not, and then so on. And we spread information.
Definitely. So reducing email and also reducing number of attachments and versions is one of the big advantages.
Yeah, and you also speed the communication because, people read email maybe 2 or 3 times a day, or they read or they don't answer right away. And if you have a post, it's totally different. Another thing that I bring to the table here, I remember people complaining, you asked me before what people or maybe not going so right. People complain, why you have Teams, why we have Skype, why we have Yammer, and communicate sometimes different groups in WhatsApp and so on. So a lot of communication applications. And then I said, well, look, in this specific to this person, do you have kids? Yes. How many applications do you use on the phone? 100. No, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. So these guys, they are growing up. And they are coming to the office. They are coming to not to also only to Bayer office, but to Microsoft, to Google, whatever. And they are building the platforms of the future. And for them, that's natural. Now, to have different platforms to talk with different people. And we are doing the same anyway. Some colleagues, we speak only on message via LinkedIn, some others on Insta, some others on Facebook and so on, WhatsApp, whatever. And that's the way we are communicating today. So this we cannot change. You can say you don't like, that's fair. I don't like as well, but this is the way we are living right now. Yeah. And after the COVID and pandemic, this is much more visible, right?
Yeah, definitely. So, and were there any further lessons learned regarding the community for you, or something that you would do differently if you would start today?
It's hard to tell what I would do different when you see the result already. It's like how countries should manage COVID. Now we know. No, so it's different perspective. But trying to figure out in an experience that I had before. First, maybe I would involve more top managers from the beginning to have more support. And more, I would say, even budget and specific time or specific people to boost, the adoption planning, and have, let's say, maybe a champion in Microsoft they call like a super user, maybe a champion on teams for different divisions or different countries, more, let's say, in a global level doing the same. Because that was not my job, but I used to do a lot on my personal time because I like it. But at some point I was also stuck. But thanks to other colleagues, it was not so difficult because many people help it. So I would say organize a group before and started to grow more structured. But I can imagine it, people that don't know Teams or didn't know Teams at that time, accepting some invitation would be also hard, I think, no? Let's say, let's do something like that. But did you do it before? No. People know the software? No. So I don't know. Actually, that's that's a natural question.
Yeah, sure. But at least you brought up some important aspects that can make it more successful. If it's the right thing to do, you never know if you don't try it again, right?
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah. And first need to try, like the minimal viable product in this case.
Exactly. Okay, and maybe moving on to the training topic, you also trained a lot of people.
Yeah.
So what format did you use? How did you train all the people?
In the beginning, I was sending emails to some colleagues. So I was even on my mindset still driven by emails, right? And I send emails, look at this, look at that, especially to my stakeholders, like, let's change our meetings from this to that with emails. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, a colleague say, could you please stop to send these mails and make training? So it was a very fair and sincere comment, but also with a trigger, like, maybe you can do different, and do better. I say, okay, let's try to do that. And then that's the way I started training people. And as I said before, once I reached the assistants, the voice just spread everywhere. And then comes also some situations where I helped some specific groups in Bayer to set up very important meetings with sensitive data. Basically, in Teams, you can send a recurrence meeting as on Outlook, but if people have access to the link, if you don't place the right settings, people can join the meeting wherever they want. Mm-hmm. So once I also, for instance, I give you this example, how to set up a meeting. Every group which had a specific meeting, in this case, sensitive data, they start to approach me also to have a training on that. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to also team leaders that they want to reduce emails, they want to have more monthly, let's say, communication speed, speed up the communication between teams. They come to me to ask a specific training. Supply chain people, for instance, in pharma division, they ask me many trainings to connect all the applications, the web applications they have already to the teams. And marketing people come to solve different problems, how to have restricted data, fill it up automatically in Excel and so on. So as soon the groups, they had a different need, and they knew I was helping somebody else, they come to me, and we basically, I was doing a tailored training, Mm-hmm. So I listened to what you want, and then I was educating myself. And if it's something I knew, of course, just share it right away. If not, I was learning together with these people, and then we come to conclusion. Many times I have to tell as well that I was even learning more than teaching, which is, I think, is the most case when you are teaching somebody. You learn a lot.
Yeah, that's right. So you did the training always on very specific use cases or needs of the team. So then also the transfer is easier for them, and also the sessions are shorter. So this makes training more effective, definitely, on the other hand side. And what you say is definitely true. As a teacher, or as a trainer in this case, usually you learn the most because you get the questions and you have to try to solve the problems. It fits to the quote that you had in the beginning. Problems are there to be solved. Yeah. And this is definitely a good learning accelerator, I would say. One aspect is that I always wonder about using Microsoft Teams is not just how to use a tool, but if you want to use it properly, you also have to change the way you're working. So it's basically also mind change. maybe even the questions that the participants might ask you are not fitting to the tool or to the new way of thinking. How did you, implement the topic of mind change?
So in terms of quotes, there's another one that I like very much, which comes from Socrates, the thinker. So the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. And that's applied very good for this situation on Teams. So when people come, as I said before, but I want to use Skype, and I say, forget. We should not even talk about Skype anymore. Skype is old. Skype will die. They will switch off. Like, it will not exist anymore. So let's expend our energy here on how to do the new. And the new is Teams. And when coming to the resistance or change, my approach is giving examples. So if I know a case where I can share, very easy. I have already, as I said, meetings, emails, this kind of things. I can look, this is the way I'm doing meetings right now. This is an example. Why you don't try to do the same in your team and tell me the result in 2 weeks? Something like that. If it's something that I don't know, okay, let's go together. For instance, we have Power BI, but people use more Tableau. Okay, we have a license. Let's try for that because the connection should be easier. Some license even cheaper. If you have a big project to run, did you try to use a planner and place the due dates assigned to specific people? No. Did you know that the system will send automatically email to these people, remember then to assign, to complete the task? No. So why you don't make a test? No. So I was inviting people for the new. And I think that was, of course, not 100% success all the time, but it was a huge difference, in terms of approaching, like, you have to do that and you should stop to do this. Why? So another thing that I thought was very important was to bring the best of the people. Like, if I meet somebody which is already very senior project manager, I try to make this person to think on his or her soft skills that can help to influence others as well. Not only try to change the person, but invite the person to change others. So then the people, they feel empowered or powerful to do that. And I think that was a great change of mindset as well. Not for me, but from them and for the group they are doing.
Yeah, I also believe that it always needs some good role models that show already a new way of working so that others can adapt accordingly and see it and also see and notice the benefits. And then they also want to have it later. So influencing the people to influence others can definitely be, a good aspect there, I would say.
Yeah, that's correct.
There's one thing which I always wonder, so the system is so fast changing sometimes, and suddenly the system looks completely different the next day. Have you encountered the situation that you prepared a training or prepared a session, and then during the session something looked different or strange or surprising?
Yeah, I think it was the first or second training I did here in Basel. Indeed, presentations were not looking the same when somebody say, hey, what's that here on the web or in the application? And then I just close the PowerPoint slide and say, okay, let's go to Teams. And then I open my Teams and then I start over again. Like instead of build up a new presentation, I just close it. I deleted my presentation, say, let's go in live, no? Yeah. And from them, I start to do always like that, because then I realize at that point, I will not be able first to update, second to run together with Microsoft because they're really fast on that. And then also people, we get outdated material if they download that and not follow the group anymore.
Yeah, makes sense. I think with a quick changing system, you have to use then most probably the live system because as you're teaching old stuff.
That's correct. Yeah.
Is there anything specific that stood out during the trainings or something enlightening that you would like to share?
You mean from the mindset or technical?
Whatever. So whatever impressed you during the training, either from the people, from what you did, or from how people reacted afterwards. Anything that you like to share?
Okay, talking about people behavior. Now, in general, I said before that people start to learn by doing. Which is a positive, on my view, a positive change of behavior. But from another side, I saw people become a little bit dependent on the group. For instance, many people come to the group to ask, how many people can I have in a meeting? If you go to Google, you can type that, or even Microsoft Page, you find that very easy. Even easier and faster than go to the group and wait somebody to answer this kind of question. From another side, also the number of users in the meeting was very often asked. And then for that, for instance, I place a post saying how to find posters on Teams. And if you have a question, please first do that. Go to the search bar on the top. And then I explain step by step how to do the filters to select the channels and group, and type some words like meetings, live events, and see if there somebody that did the question before, and maybe the answer is already there. Like when you go for a forum, any kind of forum, you type something, the forum itself will select somebody already made these questions, and here is the answer. So people was not doing that. Always doing the questions first, because of course they don't know how to use the system, and in Teams, as any feed, they go up at some point, so people will not see anyway these instructions how to find information. But the behavior was like that. People was at some point, some people, especially new people in the group, I have somebody here that can answer me, so I don't go even to Google. I don't go even to the guy that sits beside me. I will type here, and maybe somebody will give me the answer. So that was one behavior I observed, during this time.
And it's always also a difficult balance, right? So for the people and their behavior. So how long should I Google, or when should I start asking people? So maybe if you don't find quickly, then posting the question is good. But it's also something I think everyone needs to learn how to do it best.
Yeah. There's also another example where people ask, how should I download the emails of all members? And so far it's not possible. There is a automation you can build up around to to download from the SharePoint, etc. And in this case, this person said, I need to do that, but I will not do that. And so, but what you need, what you want to do? I wanted the emails, but then... So people was even sometimes forcing, so you can do that. Not in this case. There is, this is everywhere. There's positive and negative behavior, but in general, most likely was very, very positive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then there was one further thing that we wanted to talk about. This was the Teams Club, it's called, right? So what is this about?
So basically, I'm trying to replicate the same I did at Bayer outside, escalate that. So once I left Bayer, I give some time to relax. I would say 2 or 3 weeks. That was already December, and then I created my page, Microsoft Teams Club, where you can find how I did at Bayer. So basically these things we explain here. And also I build up my personal website, franciscomelo.com, where I explain step by step how I did that and the achievements on that regards, and why I trying to do that. First, because I saw the knowledge I acquired on Teams is something I need to use. I cannot just stop to use that. So even if I do something else, I want to run in parallel, or maybe with other groups, which I'm trying to do that. this concept. Basically, I'm running outside of the e-learning traditional material training way of learning. As I said before, I would like to have somebody, and in this case is me on this time, to help others. So you join the Microsoft Teams on my Teams now, on my personal tenant. So I bought it from Microsoft, a subscription the same buyer have. So I can offer everything we had in Bayer. And once you join this group, I will do the same I did at Bayer. So I will place, I'm doing right away. I place their news from Microsoft. I have here, just open here to read, useful cases, training material, important information from the apps like Planner, Forms, live events, the news from Microsoft, mobile applications, so on. And then I post here, and also I'm posting on LinkedIn. I created the page from to separate my personal name to the Teams Club. So I did the Microsoft Teams Club on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And that right now, it's a lot of work because you talk about many accounts on many social networks. So on that regard, I'm still a little bit slowly. I should be faster on my point of view. But as I start small, when I have this initiative in Bayer, I'm doing the same outside. I start small and maybe at some point it will be bigger. Let's see.
Yeah.
The difference here that I create also a group for Brazil. So because coming from there and speaking Portuguese, and I see also the market as a very good market to explore. I did create the Microsoft Teams Club Brazil and also Italy because I'm half Italian, half Brazilian. So why not?
And if I would ask you about your vision, so what do you want to achieve with it? Or maybe first ask you this.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that. So basically, my purpose as a digital influencer, in this case, Teams, is to use all available technology to leverage engagement and influence people on the new ways of learning and new ways of working. While increasing also the communication speed and transparency among team members, which is the outcome. No? So make people communicate better, faster, and more transparent among team members. That's the outcome.
That's the outcome that you're striving for. Very good.
Yeah.
And if you would have a free wish for this topic, what would it be? So if there are no limitations, you can wish for something for it. What would it be? Look like?
I would call like that my targets, right? For the teams. So in 2 years in Bayer, with the easy contact with people, we finished in 2 years with 3,500 people. I would try to get 1,000 people by the end of this year in this group. I would call 1,000, let's say, users, no, and then that in general. But then if I split between language, I create like English, Portuguese, and Italian. Maybe 1,000 on English, maybe another 1,000 in Brazil, or even more, and then maybe 500 in Italy. Because in terms of time, so far I cannot manage all of them. I just have the concept, and then to complement. I would try as well, and now here I need a partner to do that 100%, because the same concept I have with Microsoft, I believe can be used also for Slack. So talking about business, no, I never use Slack. We are using Teams only in Bayer, but I believe can be done the same. So I already created the Slack club and now social networks account. I'm just looking for a person that can run that. And I think if they look what I did in Teams, they can do in Slack. I think it would be a great advantage, especially because Salesforce, they took over Slack in the end of the year for 27 billions. So for sure they will invest in Slack right now, and more is to come. Yeah. Wow. But that I cannot tell more because, as I said, I never use it. Just I want to replicate the concept of of Teams Club in Slack. Let's see.
But you at least have some good plans, and there will be more to come from you.
Yeah, let's try. Why not?
Yeah. Okay, looking a little bit at the time, before we stop, maybe one or two final questions. So is there any kind of book or a book that influenced you and that you would recommend to our listeners?
Well, we are in Bayer very active with the Working Out Loud from John Stieper, right? Not only the book about the sessions, no, the circle. That's really incredible. So the Working Out Loud for me took off my shining to tell I'm good on that. So I was always thinking, maybe if I tell I'm good on this or good on that to people, people will see me as arrogant, etc. No. So once I started to understand the Working Out Loud, I saw that was possible to do without think like that. Basically, say. It's a good thing. Why not share? No. And then the other book, which by the way allowed me to write my first book, was the 5 a.m. Club from Robin Sharma. Basically, the initial idea was to get up and do some exercise to lose some weight. But then I had a dream in the pocket, which was to write a book about my history with my wife. And I took the opportunity to do that while I was waking up very early, 5 a.m. And since that was a surprise for her birthday last year, I was doing it in a secret way. So the best time to do that was outside, and when she was not, of course, close to me, because we are all in lockdown, work from home, whatever I will do, at some point she probably will see that, and basically she will listen. When I wrote, I hired a ghostwriter.
Cool.
So I was sharing voice message. And then this person wrote the book, because with that, I could do that in English with the grammar, revision, all this stuff in one shot. And then I could publish the book in 4 months, and even in Portuguese and Italian as well. So that's my recommendation for the books, which is very powerful, at least for the last year.
Yeah, I also started reading the 5 a.m. Club. I'm not that comfortable yet with the idea of waking up 5 o'clock, but it gives you a lot of time in, let's say, in isolation where no one else will catch you, and
that's
you
right.
can work in with a fresh brain, so relaxed brain, basically, on your topics.
Yeah. No, I felt very, very good physically speaking. Also, of course, wake up in the beginning is difficult. Yeah. But once you set up your routine, like I was, now in winter, I give up a little bit, because I was in Brazil, time zone, all these kind of things. So basically, waking up 5, then you have your exercise routine, and then you come back, you have your shower, your coffee, your reading book. Yeah. Then when you did all these things, you see your kids waking up and say, I did already all this stuff. Now they're waking up. That's a very good sensation. You have to try. Cool. Maybe if you don't have kids anyway, you have to try, because then you see people waking up or started the meetings. You did accomplish a lot already in the day.
Yeah, with my kid currently, with age of 3, I think she would also wake up when I wake up at 5, hearing the alarm clock, and then she won't go to sleep anymore. So I would have more time with my kid, but no time to work on something, I guess. Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. I have two kids, 5 and 2 years old now, and for the moment I start to wake up, even with the vibration mode on the phone, just to not make a huge mess on the morning. After 3 or 4 weeks, they start to wake up early as well. Even I was doing very silent steps. But there's also a positive thing. Then you don't need to call them, let's go to the school, they're ready.
Yeah. Makes sense, yeah.
So,
and one last question maybe. So do you have a personal learning hack, or how do you personally prefer to learn?
For sure, learn by doing, because this is the way I like to test. I like to see different perspectives. And then, of course, depending what you have in front of you, and how expensive is your toy, or how important is the task you have to perform. But in general, learn by doing.
Okay, thank you very much. And also thank you very much for having been my guest today.
My pleasure, Matthias. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, and to all the listeners, I hope you enjoyed the session today. And don't forget to leave a like or to follow the podcast or comment on it. Hear you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.